Hello and a warm welcome to Budget Yatra on ET Now. We continue our journey through Hyderabad, getting you a pulse of what the city's CEOs want from Budget 2026. Our first stop on this episode is at Jairaj Steel. One of the city's legacy steel makers, the company is on the cusp of a big capacity enhancement drive thanks to its new plant in Kurnool, Andhra Pradesh. However, the management believes central policy makers must continue Capex and infrastructure investments for the steel sector to hold its own. That's the word coming in from Jairaj Steel's director, Mrs.Rajshree Jain, who is also making a case for easing procurement of raw material. Here's a slice of that conversation. Rajshree, good to have you with us here on ET Now along the sidelines of Budget Yatra. We're at Jairaj Steel's Telangana facility just outside of Hyderabad. And there's so much to talk about in terms of all that the company has been doing. Before we start, give us a little bit of a status check on what the steel sector is like. How have you been performing? I know it's been a dull few months, but things are surely looking up going forward.
Definitely. I think steel demand and prices have started picking up since December. And we are definitely expecting a very good year coming in 26 and hopefully 27 for the steel industry, especially keeping in mind the government's push on infra, especially, and the growth in tier 3, 4 cities. So I'm hoping that with all this, steel demand will no longer be cyclical, but more structured and sustainable.
Absolutely. In fact, we're seeing those green shoots even as we speak, which hold with them the promise of so much more in the months ahead. It's all down to infrastructure expansion, really, Rajshree. The fact that you're seeing a lot of emphasis on newer developments, you're seeing infrastructure move to, like you said, tier 3, tier 4, and even rural and semi-urban and semi-rural towns. Is that going to be the key growth driver, really, for the steel segment going forward?
Definitely. I mean, today the metros of India have, they have achieved a certain level of growth, infrastructure. They will continue growing at probably the same rates, but the real places you'll see a push in the growth and really exponential growth will be, the heartland of India, the tier 3, tier 4, and that is definitely going to drive the steel industry. I think steel is the backbone of infrastructural growth. So we can expect a very sustainable and good future for the steel industry.
Absolutely. Let's take this bit by bit then on the outlook front. Even as we speak, we are within one of your facilities, just in the outskirts of Hyderabad itself. But Kurnool, that's where the magic is happening. Your new state-of-the-art facility, which of course is also strategically located given all that is happening on the infra development front in Andhra, in Amaravati itself. What is that outlook for Jairaj like on the expansion front? Where do capacities go from here? Where are they today and where do they go from here?
Definitely. So as you know, we have just launched a state-of-the-art world's most unique TMT plant. It is the first integrated TMT plant which combines a blast furnace with a energy optimizing furnace, a ladle refining furnace, and an endless rolling and casting by Danieli, Italy. We have positioned this plant is in Kurnool, Andhra Pradesh, and as you know, Andhra Pradesh is going to be, I think, India's fastest growing state in the coming few years. And we are offering the best quality TMT because of the technology that we have adapted. And we are hoping that in the next couple of years, we should grow to at least a 2 million ton plant.
And not just data centers, GCCs as well, mushrooming across the country, more so in South India than other parts, has definitely brought with it the promise of so much more for the steel segment. But I have to ask you, even as we're just a few days away from the union budget, what do you think the government must focus on to actually help industrialization and steel production grow? If there were a wish list of sorts for the finance minister, what would that be?
Definitely, I would say my first wish list, and that is just being very selfish, is the import duty imposed on coke, which I think is very unfair to the primary producers who have a big requirement of coke. We are anyways importing the raw material for coke, and so instead of importing the raw material on coke, I think the government should go back to allowing the import of coke and more reasonable import duties on that. Secondly, I think the budget, there should be a greater push towards development in such a way that the per capita steel consumption in India should increase, should be encouraged. The per capita steel consumption in India is about 100 kgs, which is far below the world average. So I think in order to push that, there has to definitely be a push in growth in all our rural areas. I think unless that growth comes and that push comes in those areas, we cannot really, reach the world average.
Absolutely. And we'll get down to this bit by bit. Let's start with coke first. Import duties has almost always, with most CEOs and industrialists, been a key talking point insofar as their budget wish list is concerned. And while the import duty aspect on coke is no doubt one part of the ask from your side, import duties continue to be a bit of a sore thumb when it comes to budgetary demands. Imported steel as well has been something that you've talked about for a long time. You'd perhaps want those import duties on steel to continue, given the fact that you're seeing the possibility or potential of dumping from China.
Definitely, and I'm grateful that the government has, they have extended the import duty on steel for the further 3 years. And I think the government, this government who's targeted that the steel production of India should reach 300 million tons by 2030. In order to achieve that and in order to give the existing steel producers a confidence boost to really expand their greenfield projects, I think some kind of a surety from the government that, dumping from especially of finished products from China will be very much restricted.
And I think that, of course, has been also the focus of the government itself.
Yes.
Moving forward, you've spoken about import duties, you've spoken about coke and, of course, continued import duties on China, all in the attempt to encourage more consumption of steel in India itself. Where does the industry go from here? What kind of growth rates do you expect for the steel sector in India, and in what kind of timeline do you expect this growth to happen?
So I'm expecting the growth rate of the steel industry to be very good. There are a lot of new greenfield projects already in the pipeline. There are companies like ArcelorMittal and all who have already, signed MOUs and started their work in India for some really, I'm sure, state-of-the-art facilities. Companies like Jairaj are very well positioned in this market. We are a strong regional brand offering primary product and at a very, competitive cost and very good customer service and know-how of the local markets. So a company like us also growing and adding to this capacity enhancement, I think that's very important, and I see a very good future for the steel industry, but I think it should, people should be conscious of overcapacity, and I think those companies truly that can find a balance to ride out the volatility, at the same time maintain their quality and trust, and they will do really well.
Do you think the airport drive by the government could also hold with it opportunities that the steel sector could well be eager to tap?
Definitely. Even to build an airport, you require steel. You require TMT and you require a lot more other steel products, which we don't make. But I always tell people, you tell me one thing you can do in terms of development without steel. Steel is everywhere in our life.
Absolutely, everywhere it is. And I hope that the policy levers are pulled in your favor and that the upcoming union budget holds with it the promise of so much more.
Thank you.
On that note, Rajshree, thanks so much for speaking with us. Great speaking to you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.